Hi guys, welcome to GEEKAMANIA. We're here to talk about a film that was out of this world.
We're talking about gravity.
And it's time to bring it down to earth.
Yeah. Because this film was out of sight, just like these guys were out of the orbit.
And sometimes I was gasping for air.
This film left me breathless.
It's the same as what I just said. Let's blast off.
This film has really taken off with audiences all over America and England.
You know, let's not orbit around.
Thanks to George Clooney and Sandra Bullock's out of space acting. It was stellar.
There sure were a lot of stars in the sky.
But let's not detach from the subject.
Listen to the sound of my voice.
You have to detach! Anyway, we're GEEKAMANIA guys.
We
As
are.
usual, this is the worst intro we've ever done.
I think it's the best intro.
I think it's
Possibly, depends.
Yeah, depends on people's perspectives.
This is Kier.
That is Michael.
I'm tired.
Michael, yet again, fucking up the intro for everyone.
I'm Mark, and that's Ben.
That's Ben.
Yeah, we're both Ben. So yeah, we are reviewing Gravity, the smash box office sensation sweeping across America and England. Oh boy. Yeah.
Who done?
Yeah. So who wants?
It was good. Watch it. That's it, guys. Thanks
End
for
of
watching.
credits. That was GEEKAMANIA. Yay.
Hey.
No. Seriously though. What did you guys think, Mark?
I thought visually it was one of the best films I've ever seen, and it actually made me think I was actually in space. I was actually literally.
You actually
shaking
thought
in
you were actually in space.
No,
You
but,
thought,
but
like,
no,
you were-
but you know what I mean. Like, I was actually in the screen, like literally like shaking because it looked so real. It made me appreciate being on the ground because of just how just beautiful and just how visually it was just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. I was just staring at the screen for like an hour and a half, just looking at the beautiful like stars and the earth. It was amazing.
You drifted off a little bit there.
I did, yes.
I think Mark just went into Valhalla. It was weird, but yeah, no, it's a beautiful film. It's technically it's probably
Technically a marvel.
technically it's a 5-star film. Like if I was judging this on a pure technical making of standpoint, this is a 5-star film.
Because how do they not film it in space?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, there were at times where I was just like, how did they? Yeah, how is this not? It's quite impressive that it wasn't filmed in space.
Mm.
The
Cinematography was
yeah,
amazing.
the CG was amazing.
The
The sound
score-
design was great.
Score and the sound design. Both
Ah,
really good.
It was really good. Throw Oscars at the technical side of this
Hmm.
film. Just chuck them. Just chuck them, and they'll land. They'll stick.
They'll float though.
They will gently careen over in a very
And
artistic
the acting of
fashion.
Sandra Bullock was really good as well. I thought Sandra Bullock, an actress, was really good in the film. It actually made me care for her as well. Wanted to make sure she got back. And when can we mention spoilers?
Let's leave spoilers for now.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I like this film a lot. I wanted to love it, but I
Here comes the red letter media in you.
Yeah.
You like, watch that, and you're like, oh.
But
no,
no.
I hate it.
No, I don't hate it. I don't. I still really like it, but the main thing that killed it for me was I watched it a second time with a friend, and this film doesn't have a lot of rewatchability. Like I that's not a thing I should really levy at most films, but it really highlighted the problems for me. Because like I'd seen all of the cool visual stuff, like, and it was still nice, but the characters didn't really carry me through and say they would do in any other film watching it the second time. It's like, hey, I'm back with my friends. These are guys that I love and cherish, and it's just like,
I think
Yeah.
that it was a very short film.
yeah, it's
So,
a
yeah.
very basic film as
And
well.
the main character doesn't really say an awful lot.
No,
Like, the
it's-
whole point of it is that at the beginning she's very kind of reclusive.
Yeah,
by the
it's-
end of it. It's
it's-
about rebirth and all that kind of stuff.
It is a
And it's
very
about hammer and
very
teeth.
simple character story.
And it's all to do with her emotions and how she's feeling at that time. Like you can see the panic in her and like the sigh of relief when she's finally going back to
Yeah, no,
Earth
it's
and when she's
well
finally in
acted.
the- you know, it's very well acted.
I'll definitely grant it that. And I know in the Red Letter Media review they said it would probably have been better with unknowns, but I actually quite like George Clooney in the role, and I like Sandra Bullock in the role quite a lot. So, like,
So
while I was watching it, I didn't really have that feeling of like, oh, this is George Clooney in space, or oh, this is Sandra Bullock in space. Like, I was immersed decently enough, but for me, the characters weren't. They were kind of one note, really. Like, there wasn't too much depth to them, you know?
I thought there was. I thought that I thought the tone was a bit oversimplified.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of comes with the territory. I think for a blockbuster, if you compare it to like, you know, really wordy, long, normal Oscar award-winning films, then no, the characters aren't fleshed out. But I think that
as a
they
pure,
were believable as scientists that are in space going through this horrible, traumatic stuff, and that was all they needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as I sound like I'm being down on this film, if you asked me, like, oh, so does that mean you liked Armageddon better? I would just laugh in your face and slap you. Because, as, you know, as simple as the characters are, and there's, like, you know, there's not a huge amount of depth. There is depth. They're not one-dimensional characters, but there's not a lot of depth. Like, they're not really juicy characters that are like, oh, I really want to see that character in another film. It's like, but it's good. It's really good, and like, the technical side of things really fucking elevate this.
Yeah.
Like, if this film didn't look and sound as good as it was, this would probably be a 3-star film. It really would be. But because it's so technically impressive to me, it becomes at least a 4-star film.
I think enough of the departments worked well together that even if it wasn't visually pleasing, it would still hold up. So I think that the acting is good. It may not be, you know, Oscar night. We've seen better things this month.
Yeah, I've definitely. Yeah, I mean, Rush.
It kind of shows the versatility of Sandra Bullock, of just how good of an actress that she can be. Like, yeah, no, she does a lot of comedies and stuff by doing this. It made me appreciate her more as an actress.
This is easily the best thing she's done.
So kind of one-dimensional, where she's amazing and
yeah, and I think like the sound, all of the stuff that worked well together made a really good survival film. I don't think that, you know, I think if you pick it apart, it doesn't hold up as well. It's just like a survival adventure. It's like 127 Hours again.
Yeah.
Where it's a person stuck in a very difficult, unlikely situation and struggling to survive. And I think the 127 Hours, you could be like, oh, I don't really like the character. Or
I really like how brief it is. Like the fact it's a really short film really helps it.
Well, it's just, and it's still got the same themes of the triumph of human spirit, and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the themes are strong as well. Yeah, I like the themes.
I think that.
What about Kier and Mikey? What do you guys think of the film?
Well, I just say particularly with the sound design and the fact that everything did sound like it was.
Yeah.
It sounds weird to say it sounds like it was in space, because there really is no sound, but they did well with that, and it does look gorgeous. But so as much as I love everyone's performance in it, I personally don't like Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, she hasn't done a lot to make anyone really love her.
I was kind of hoping that this would be the film that made me go, oh yeah, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
I was kind of, I think if anyone else had been in that role, I'd have been a bit more immersed, but I was too busy just going, half. But apart from that, like you say, George Clooney did very well. And I thought it was, the way that I thought it was going to go, I thought it was going to be that both of them would make it back to Earth.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they
spoilers. George Clooney doesn't make it. Doesn't make it, guys.
I know. That's sad. I like George.
Poor Matt
It's
Kowalski.
quite funny.
He just stays on the space station, drinks vodka.
Yeah.
Mikey, what do you think about the film, dude?
I thought it was very good, but it got into action really early. I thought. I mean, sure you can't really have a build up in space, but or maybe you can, but it didn't have much of a build up, and it just went straight into the action.
Yeah, it might have helped if we'd have seen, like, you know, if we'd have like been introduced to the characters in a more like comprehensive way.
So you think they should have developed the pacing a bit better then, like you think?
No, I would have liked that. I would have.
It was like that.
I would have liked a proper attachment to them, like even just a brief one, you know.
I really like the intro though. I mean, the first shot is 15
the intro
minutes
is
long,
really good. I really like it.
Them floating around the camera,
and it is just one big old shot, yeah.
And I think that, you know, it establishes that she's a bit of a loner and George Clooney is George Clooney and all that kind of stuff, and then it goes into it. It's a very short film, doesn't overstay its welcome, it's just there.
I feel like it would have served better though if you'd have had like that contrast of like you starting on Earth and it being all like dingy, like low
Apollo 13.
Kind of, yeah, kind of like that.
Long time before they even get
Not a long time. I'm not saying a long time. Maybe like 5 minutes to 10 minutes tops. But like,
but I thought the whole point of the film was because of that. Even at the end, when it gets to Earth, there is no like it's just her.
Yeah.
Just landed on soil. I like that. I like the fact that there was only 2 characters you ever actually saw. The other 3 characters that were in space with them.
No, there's 3.
There's 3 because you had the other guy.
I said the other 3 characters that were in space with them.
Yeah.
You only heard, but you didn't ever see them.
Yeah, like even just like a short clip of her like just like driving around on Earth.
I don't know. I think that's too Hollywood.
Is it?
Yeah, because the fact that she landed on Earth and she was just walking was perfect because all she wanted to do was just to get back onto Earth.
If I think, in my opinion, if Hollywood made it, it would have had a really long bit at the beginning with her driving to the airport, like visiting the grave of her, like someone.
I wouldn't want to visit
like,
the grave.
Oh,
no.
no. And then being like, "Are you ready for this?" Like George Clooney being George Clooney and her just being really quiet and in itself, and they blast off into space, and then stuff happens like that.
And that would have been far too much for what the film was.
And I think, so I think it could have been made a different way. I think it could have been made like Apollo 13, where it starts off and it builds all these characters up.
Yeah.
Then they go in space and all this terrible stuff happens, and you've got that connection with the homeland the entire time they're up there. But I think the isolation worked really well in space. Is that you didn't see home, so it was like they're in space, and that is the only link we have is just them in space on their own. I think if you had that thing.
I like that it was shot in space because if it was shot like you see a build up where they're on Earth and going to like the rocket that gets them into space. It's better that I think it's better that they had a film where it was solely in space and it makes it stand out more as like a different film where mostly is in space and at the end is when you see her go to Earth and then she's like alive. Otherwise you just think it's just another film about space where it makes it.
Yeah,
makes it different.
It kind of gets you straight into the isolation side of it.
Because you do feel her isolation during the film, Sandra Bullock, and you kind of feel you wanted to get back to Earth because you feel the isolation of her being alone and the hallucination that she has where George Clooney appears in the room and that sort of thing. So you kind of can feel for her and
I mean it's
struggles.
My worry with the way I perceive this film is like I like it a lot, but like it didn't really like connect with me on any level, and I feel like in a couple of months like I'm just gonna forget almost all of the story points, and the images will stick with me because the images are really strong, but like almost all of the plot points I'm probably just gonna forget.
How?
I feel like
they were like driven home by like sledgehammers. There were only like 3 points to the thing.
I know, but I feel like I'm gonna forget them because they're not really that.
As well, there wasn't loads of characters to connect to. You only had 2, so you connected more to them easier because there's like a small group of people in the film.
Yeah, I know. I feel like this film's forgettable. Like a lot of the parts about it. Like I still really like it, and I still think it's a really enjoyable ride. But I feel like it is just that. It's like a roller coaster, you know. It's like I like roller coasters. I love roller coasters, but a roller coaster doesn't give me much emotional attachment.
Okay, so here's why I disagree with you then.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it will stick around in people's memories. Because, well, people who care about cinema, I'm not saying that you don't care about cinema.
I care a lot about cinema.
This is just my point. That I think, so I care about cinema, and I think that it's like Avatar, and I think that may be unfair to compare it, because I think people come in there thinking it's a new Avatar and be like, oh, it's not as good. Because I think that it was what 3D should be. You know, it's about reinventing the technical marvel of film, and I think the director did a phenomenal job of like making you think and doing interesting stuff with it. You know, the whole thing about like the whole camera moving around, the first person angles, all this stuff I thought was incredibly well done. I thought that he brought stuff to the plate that I've never seen before, and in this day of age, you don't get that very often.
Like
and I think
that's true. Yeah,
I think what Ben's saying, I completely
draws
agree
him
with.
closer to Sandra Bullock's character.
Yeah,
and spins around and goes through the helmet and then into her view.
Yeah,
and when you hear about the way it was made, you would not believe just how
green screen,
just a green screen and
a
in a cube as well, like for certain shots. And she wasn't even actually in a suit. It was just basically she had to make sure she's in a movie like a free inch like radius, I think, because of the suit. So they actually imported and animated the suit into the film.
So I think that
the suit was animated.
Yeah, she was like in a cube, and she was like had to look around and make sure she didn't move too high her head, otherwise it will go out the side of the helmet.
So I thought that it was
been watching like
a different style to what we used to do.
It's definitely a completely
it's not
different
like
ballgame.
you know, Academy Award winning films at the moment are so kind of, you can tell when you watch it whether it's going to be one, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you could be like, you know, the Forrest Gump formula where, you know, you've got an uplifting story and all this stuff.
Uplifting story, like, disabled character that doesn't render physically
like
disabled.
Blindside, Captain Phillips will probably win one. It's all those, you can tell when you're watching that. I don't think Gravity felt like that. I thought it felt like, it reminded me a lot of Moon, which is obviously a story. It's a very small indie film by Duncan
Bowie?
No,
I'm not going to be able to help you here.
He is the son of David Bowie, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, it's just about him, like, this guy in space who finds out that he's got clones of himself and stuff like that, and it's just like a couple of characters and they're just in space. It's a really small indie film, but it kind of felt like that, but a Hollywood style. You know, it's such a small concept, which usually, you know, Hollywood film, indie films usually do. It's like a tiny concept, but doing something with it, making it fresh.
It does feel like an indie film with a massive fuck-off budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I the thing is, I completely agree with you on almost every point you've made. Like, as I said, like, on the technical level, I was dazzled by this film. I fucking, like, it fascinates me. Like, this is a film that genuinely fascinates me. I just wish I could love it, you know? I really want to, like, love this film. I really want to, but I just it's a supermodel, you know. It's like she's all looks and she's all like beautiful, sultry voice, everything. I just wish there was some more personality to her. That's how I feel about Gravity. Yeah.
Any other thoughts for you two, or should we go straight to the
I agree with what Ben said about
which one?
Ben Hawke's the guest.
Yeah.
I agree with what he's saying about the all the stuff about the new like visual effects and how they've changed it, because I mean I didn't really think when's this, like, you know, you see a 3D film you're gonna think when's the 3D bits happening. I just felt like I was in the film.
Yeah.
It
a good
really
level of visual immersion.
I pretty much forgot I was watching a 3D film, and probably until now.
I didn't even notice any 3D because I was just so immersed in the world. It was just like,
I wouldn't have known the suit was CG, but I mean, for me the film was like if you want to see, if you just want to like relax at home and watch a really nice like picture for a while, then that's the great film to do it. But I also agree with Ben where there's not much personality to the film either. Like it's mainly about
it's not devoid of personality. Like, I shouldn't say that. Like, it has personality.
It's got
I just wish
story,
there was more to it.
But it's not. It doesn't match out of the visuals. I think.
You kind of find it as well.
I think that
the substance kind of thing.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah. So I think that it wasn't telling the best story in the world. You know.
No,
like,
God no.
You get people like Quentin Tarantino come along with this incredible story. It's got them all over it.
I appreciate that wasn't the intention. That's not what they're going for.
This is just like, you know, it was probably a story that you could write on a bit of paper.
Yeah.
And it was just a good way of doing it. And I like the fact that it wasn't just her getting home and they managed to build in the like stuff about her child and stuff like that. I did think it was too heavy-handed.
It was a bit heavy-handed at some points.
I think, so I thought that, you know, it did kind of, almost everything you saw towards the end was some sort of, like, metaphor for, visual metaphor for...
And I felt in the middle as well, the pacing I didn't feel, there were certain points where, it was visually amazing, I felt a bit bored a few times.
It felt a bit weird because it's like, you know, it was her going from, like, one space station to another space station to another space station. It was a bit repetitive in the middle.
But I thought that, you know, it, for what it was amazing. I think if it was a really long film, it would have been not very good.
No.
Oh yeah, this really works as a long film.
So I think, because it was a short film, and a story that fit in that, I don't think there was a point where I was sitting there going, you know, there wasn't a point where I was sitting there going, oh, this is, you know, I was saying it's welcome, you know, it could use more fleshing out and everything, because it was small, it was concise, it got to the point. Yeah. The visuals were amazing. On reflection, you know, they were pretty groundbreaking, what they did with it. And so I was just like, you know, for what it is, it's amazing. You know, I maybe do some more stuff with it, but then you just make it longer, and it would be a different film. So I think
yeah. All right.
For me, the massive thing is now finding out the suit with CG. It kind of highlights like what we said about all the visuals, because it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Because at first you go, we're going to make the suit CG, and they think they're going to make the whole of space CG, make the suit CG as well, and then it doesn't look like it's someone in a CG environment.
Yeah,
it ties it more together.
Yeah,
and apparently Sandra Bullock was saying when she was filming it, she felt so weird and like so claustrophobic by doing it. It was like so weird for her to just be in such a small space that she had to do a comedy right after, which was the heat, to basically cheer herself up because she was so claustrophobic, so in these small areas, so this sort of thing. She just felt like, like near the end, she was like crying every single day just because just how claustrophobic she felt while doing it. That kind of
breath
thing.
on the visor screen.
Yeah,
that was really freaking real. That's why I'm so surprised that it's all CG.
It's gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah,
and it did give me like a enthusiasm for future films.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I was watching it, I was just like, oh, can you imagine like an alien film?
Yeah, I
like
felt
this?
fucking inspired watching this.
I was like, no, Prometheus looked good, but it could have been Prometheus. You know,
you're
Prometheus
right. You're right.
Amazing.
This could have turned into Prometheus. I'll grant you that.
And it
didn't. As it was a good route to not oversimplify the story. But you know, it for me it was so close to being perfect. As it is, it's just a marvel.
Right, no pun intended.
What pun? No one in this film is involved with Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll end it there.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. So, out of 5, what would you guys give it, Mikey? Out of 5.
A 5 for visuals and probably a 4, 3.5 for the story.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd say probably 4 stars. Like we've been saying, mostly the visuals and everything they did with it.
Yeah, it's a 4. It's a 4. I'd love it to be a 5, but I just can't.
I would say same as Mike, so 5 for visuals, 4 for story, so
Yeah.
I'll give it 4.5.
Yeah, if I was judging this purely on
4.5, same as Ben. Visuals 5 out of 5. Story 4-ish, so about 4.5. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.